you should be able to hear us now. I thought I would try that. Thank you very much for pointing that out, and that we didn't have an hour of us just rambling deaf into a camera. So thank you very much, everyone, for letting us know that there. So yes, and brilliant. Thank you for that, Ben, as well. Thank you for the private message there. Right. So yes, welcome to the Low Energy Livestream. We don't want to hear you. Yes. Of course. You just want to see my pretty face on my live stream. Right. So yes, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much once again, for joining my Low Energy Livestream. So I shall start right from the beginning again, seeing as there was no audio. But lads, lasses, people with glasses, and of course all of those in between. My name, in case you didn't already know, is Dexter, and welcome to the Low Energy Livestream, Part 12. We're slowly racking up the numbers there. This is the 12th week that I've put on the Low Energy Livestream. So, thank you very much for joining us. Right, so the first question that came up there, we've already had a question come in. So who's coming at my 30th then? From Colin. Well, Colin, I can't make any promises, but I would like to try and make it down. And that's, at the moment, that is the best answer that I can give you, but I would like to try and be there. Like, it's, your 30th, it's a big event, it's a big one, so I would like to try and make it down. But I'm coming end of. Right. Okay. Well, you message my lass and you be the one to tell her. I already had to negotiate to get north versus south. So, well, yeah, right. And of course, as always, we will start off by talking about the family-friendly beverage of today. We are going for Roller Cola. So you may hear us opening cans of Roller Cola off screen. Just something to help a little bit. Tell the wife my real boss told us. I could try that one. Now, I could certainly try, but again, she wears the pants in this relationship, so I can try and see what I can do, but there's no promises can be made there. Right, let's get into this. So I'll just turn this light on, see if that makes things a little bit better. Right. There's a few. It's only one day. But it's not just one day, is it? It's only one day if I drive down in the morning. It's gonna be one full day and a night. So negotiation may have to be done. Thanks, Ben. Thanks. That makes us more ginger. Well, I'm not particularly ginger. I'm not full-on orangutan, am I? I know I'm ginger, but I'm not a full-on guar. Right. So let's get on to the first bit. If you're a new viewer, I start off every show by talking about the games that are going to be available to play this weekend in the UK. So we'll get into that. So the first one, there is a walk-on at Driverwood Paintball near Gatwick. With it, all of these games are being held on the 3rd. So that's this coming Sunday. Driverwood Paintball near Gatwick. It's £25 walk-on with bring your own paint, or you can go for £50 with a box of paint included. There's free tea and coffee available and Wi-Fi. A hot lunch is included in the entry fee, as I understand it, and pyro is available on the day. There has also been some mods done to the site over Christmas. Now, I don't know what that entails, but hopefully, from what as I understand it, there's a few things have been done, so there's a few new things, a few new areas, possibly. I'm not too sure on that, but as I understand it, it should be a good day. There's expected to be a pretty good turnout. I think that's the wife turning up home. So there's supposed to be a good turnout coming out, and it should hopefully be a good day. The next one, then, we have a walk-on at Paintball Park, Kidderminster. It's £40 per box with no entry fee. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but if you drop over onto the guys at Paintball Park Kidderminster's page, I'm sure they'll be able to explain exactly how that works. I don't know if you have to buy a box of paint or not, or if it's just turn up and then you can buy extra paint as well. But I know at least from what I understand, there is expected to be a very good turnout for that event. There's a couple of people that's been marked down as that are attending. There's Lucia Woods Photography is attending, so there's going to be a photographer on site for all of those people that like to make sure that they have nice new profile pics. And Nikki T will also be attending, so there is a possibility that you might be able to get involved with a bit of Truterology in there. So if you do, let us know how it goes. Next up, we have Mayhem Tactical at a bridge. It's mag-fed tack caps and 50-shot hoppers are welcome. There is a heated kit area. There is also showers and toilets on site, which having proper plumbed in surfaces on a paintball site. I've said it before. It is a very rare thing, and it's something that should be praised. It's something I think that all sites should aim for. To be able to like actually have a proper good wash down at the end of the day, and also not have to just use a portaloo that, let's face it, after a fair few players have been, especially if you're at a big game and it's a portaloo, then they're not particularly nice. Most of the time anyway. Some sites do keep them nice and clean, but that can be a bit hit or miss. So having running water on site is fantastic. There is also an on-site shop and a game zone loaded with military vehicles. Now, as I understand it, that is things like tanks, general vehicles, planes, helicopters, that sort of stuff. So that's also a really nice feature to have on a lot of paintball sites. It's not something that you see all over the place. Now, entry fee for that one is £35, including 500 balls, which, considering it is a sort of a limited paint, it's not a full hopper sort of game, then that's a nice little sort of, that's a nice amount, and it's a reasonably priced entry fee. Right, the last one I have is there is a walk-on at 1-for-1 Paintball, which is East Grinstead. I'm not too sure on that one. I think I've included the link in the description. I should have. Again, this is the 3rd of the 2nd, so this Sunday. All these games are this Sunday. Unfortunately, I've messaged the site. I haven't gotten any response yet, but if I do, I will update that as the video goes on. But they're all games that are available for to be played this weekend. Hello! These are all games that are available for to be played this weekend. So if you attend one of these games and you have fun, or even if you don't have fun, if you attend it and it was terrible, come back here, let us know what it was like, and we can let more people know that if it's a great site, that it's worth attending, that it's worth spending the money on. If it's a bad site, obviously you can come back and let us know, and we can try and direct players away from bad sites and towards the good sites. Now, hopefully that works. Hopefully. Right, so we'll drop that over in the comments before we get on to the main topics of today's discussion. Right. So, oh, Dan, I've been told by Colin that I'm going to play his event the end of next month, and I said I would have to have a word with you, and he says to just tell you that my real boss has said that I've got to go. She says no. I'll try and negotiate on that one. I'll try. Right. So, yes, you are Clyde. I'm not sure what that one means. Your audience speaks. Kill the light. All right, then I'll kill the light. No, that's worse. That's definitely worse. Right. How was that? Does that make you happy? Right. Colin, I'm trying to get to your 30th bash, but looking to see who else from around here so I can go and car share. Well, Albert, if I can negotiate with the wife to allow us to come out and play, there is a possibility that I might be able to pick you up. Now, I can't guarantee that because I don't even know if I'll be driving myself. But if I am, or if I can convince one of the other lads who I'm travelling with, then there's potential there. But as I said, this needs some serious negotiation. Yeah, and Albert, maybe if you start walking, I think we both might be able to just listening. Right, it's a walk on, but celebration will be at the 30th. Things just moved. Right. Oh, and here's the dog as well. Right, 24th of Feb. Best site in the country, Dex. Now, when you're saying best site in the country, which one are you talking about? Because there's a lot of best sites in the country. Mayhem is a cracking site. I've heard that Mayhem is a brilliant site, but I'm yet to go down. It's another one that I always intend on trying to get down to the Mayhem. I can't think what it's called, but the Mayhem Big Game. I think it's actually just called the Mayhem Big Game. But if I've always been just busy or I've been at other games, I've never had a chance for to get down there yet. But it is something that I'm working on. So hopefully one day I can do that one as well. That's it, Mayhem Pacific. Right, I'll plug that in so I can have some nice little pretty lights floating around on my desk here. Yes? Well, you can bring us me tea if you want. Right, fantastic. Now, I'll finish reading some comments here, and I have just getting an update there. So, we'll have a quick look at that in a minute. Right. But yes, I've been told that Mayhem is an absolutely cracking site. And it is one that I will have to get down there at some point and check out. May organise a meal on the Saturday night. Colin, I thought you'd already organised a meal on Saturday night. I thought you were in the process of it. That's part of the reason why I'm coming down. I need to feed the belly. Colin says, can I please come out to play? I'll get back to you. I have changed. Not really. I've always been under the thumb. Right, Pacific Rim. The site or Dexter's stream, Gassy. Well, I'm going to go with the stream. That stream's the best. Well, I do need numbers for the meal. Well, I'll find out as soon as I can. And if I can, I'll let you know. Right then, let's drop back over into here. And thanks for getting in touch. Green Fee, right. For 1-for-1 paintball this weekend, remember, like I said, that is the 3rd of the 2nd, so that is Sunday the 2nd of, Sunday the 3rd of February, 2018. 2019! I keep getting that wrong. Keep getting wrong at work because I've got to write dates on stuff, and I keep writing 2019 as well. So, yeah. Green fee is £20 and paint is £25 per box. So I'll just quickly respond, yeah? Right then. Hopefully that should do. Right then. So that's that message responded to. Although I may get another one. I'm expecting that I might get another one. And right, we'll drop over onto the proper topics of conversation for today. Right. So then, after a few conversations with a few people on my live streams previously, I was encouraged to start up a Facebook page. I mentioned that I was thinking about doing it, and I mentioned some of my issues that I was a bit worried about doing it because I don't want to seem egotistical. No, I don't want to seem egotistical with what I'm doing. I'm trying to help people, and if that means if I should start a Facebook page where I can share stuff on there, then that's what I've done. But anyway, I've started a Facebook page, so what I'll be doing on there is I'll be sharing things that I find funny or things that pop into my head as time goes on. It's like as the days go by and things like that. But I'll also be including things that like games that are going to be coming up. Now, there may be games that I'm attending. Some of them may be games that I'm just going to mention on the following weekend, or even games that are going to be coming up way in the future. So it's... Hello Nightmare, hello, welcome to the live stream. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, wants to follow us on Facebook on the page, it is on Facebook. It's Dexter's PB Lab. Just search for that on Facebook in the pages section. and you can find us. I'm a Geordie Mike Phillips, and I don't know. I haven't cheated up. No, I can't. Actually, I can't. I can't even finish that because that was that. As far as I understand it, that there was nothing ever confirmed, and that was a bit uncalled for. I shouldn't have said that. Um, you mean to say games? Yes, that's it. That's it, Craig. It's games that my wife will let us attend. So, yes. So it's some of them maybe games that I'm planning on attending. Some of them maybe games that I'm just wanting to promote. And there'll also be I'll be sharing products on there that I find interesting and all that sort of stuff. So feel free to share us on. Feel free to follow us on Facebook if you want to. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna be offended by it. um, you got to go, Dexter. Pacific is one hell of a weekend, and in my opinion, the best game in the UK. Well, this is it. I keep getting told that it is a fantastic game, so I'm going to have to try and get down there and see what it's like. I'm not into Dex PB and your £1 side crap. Well, I think I'm a few years away from ending up down that route. So, but you never know. I may start up a dodgy site at some point. Hopefully, you can get your CS1, not 1.5. But I'm just got the money to buy it. Well, Nightmare, if you can do it, if that's what you want to go for it. And I hope it serves you well. I mean, Eclipse gear is always top rate gear. It's stuff that just works. I've told you the stories before about one of the guys that played on the clan that I knew, and about he had an Eagle 7, and apparently when it was finally cleaned, it had half paintballs in the rammer housing, and it was still just working. That Eclipse gear just works. Yes, ginger monster balls though. I just had a horrible thought. Can you remember that video of where Mike was standing on monster balls and they weren't bursting? If you're talking about my ginger monster balls, I don't want anyone trying to recreate that. Mecha's the new tryhard. Oh, we're going to cover that tonight. Right. Yes. Right. So the next one, I'm going to touch on it briefly because I've covered it every week for about the past 4 or 5 weeks. So yeah, I don't want to go on and on about it. But again, there is a link in the description to the Paintball Discord server that I started up. After the stream, I will be on there for probably knocking on an hour. Maybe it's a little bit less, depending on what's happening. If anybody wants to join us and actually talk to us, have a proper conversation to us, not just type stuff out, feel free to join it. It's a free service. You can join it and have a chat with us, and you can also post in the message boards and stuff. There is some rules, but they're very simple. You can, if you want to check it out, you can find that stuff out yourself. Right, the next subject. I want to kind of touch on it because we've touched on it before. And yes, Colin, pump is the way forward. Pump Fury. Pump Fury for the win. Right, Paintball Park Kidderminster is running a Magfed walk-on the 10th of March. It's completely new to them. They've decided that they're going to put on a Magfed walk-on. It's going to be the first one, and hopefully, if it goes well, this is something that they might continue doing. And they might continue putting on these events, and it'll hopefully be a great new site for Magfed events in the UK. It could be somewhere where eventually, as I understand it, it's a reasonably sized site. They could end up putting on big games or Magfed, like proper full-on Magfed games. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and it's something that I'll probably mention again in future because I kind of want to keep an eye on Paintball Park Kidderminster because they kind of seem to have just appeared out of nowhere. And now I know that they have been around for a long time, but they've just kind of dropped onto my radar, so I want to see how they progress. So I'll probably touch on that again. Right, what's next? Pump is the way forward. It is indeed. Pump is the new Magfed. No, Pump is the original Magfed. I feel like when I say that, I need to kind of Get off my lawn. But yes, I'm actually. I think I'll sit on that idea for a little while. Right. Can I use a box mag? And can I use a 10-shot tube? I don't know those things yet. But I think obviously if you are interested in attending the game, if you're interested in attending the Paintball Park Kidderminster Magfed game, at the minute, because obviously it's not going to be for another few weeks yet, I'm not going to feature any more details on it just yet. I'll probably feature more details closer to the time. But if you are interested in it, feel free to drop over to the Paintball Park Kidderminster's Facebook page and just ask them the questions that you want to know the answers to. Before that, the best I can do is I can send them some messages and see if I can find out any details. They do seem very responsive at the minute, but as I said, they do seem to have just kind of dropped onto the scene, so they are growing at the moment. And they are trying to get a lot of attention by the looks of it, and they're doing quite well from what it seems. Or a max loader. Well, I suppose I think a max loader is probably pushing it. However, if you are playing a special character, then like a juggernaut or something, then possibly I could see that working and being featured into the rules. Can I use a 50-round hopper? Again, I don't know, but I could imagine that they might allow that, depending on the way things go. Sea Pump Fury t-shirt order is coming soon. Get in, Colin. I've told you, I want one of those t-shirts off you, and I will gladly feature it on the channel. Pump and max loader, then barrel tag the whole team. That sounds familiar. Oh yes. Colin, I don't understand how two pieces of equipment that do not mash in reality, a pump action with something that holds 2,000 rounds, and then to barrel tag the entire team. How does that even work? It's like barrel tagging somebody with a pump action minigun. They might say no box mag because it's not a mag. But it is a mag because it fits in a mag well, and it's called a mag. Nightmare. I've had run-ins with Magfed players before. Not face to face. I've had arguments with Magfed players on Facebook, because of course Facebook, about things like box mags and yes, that's it. It's a hopper mag. A box mag is just an upside down hopper. That's all it is. It's just an upside down hopper. Instead of feeding balls from the top of the gun, it feeds them from the bottom. And what adds even more to that is because there's some that will argue, well, it has to be realistic. Well, there's realistic hoppers. It was a Japanese rifle. I think it was called the Type 11, although I might have that wrong. That you actually put rounds at the top of, and then they're fed into the top like a hopper. And then you've got I think it's the PP90M1 and the Calico, which use helical magazines, which are basically Q loaders. These, and it's just no. I don't want to go down that route at the moment. I'm trying to be nice and non-political. As non-political as I can be, while also reporting on the news, the paintball news of the week. It happened at the first speed game. Ask Duncan. Oh mate, I believe it. I believe it happened. I'm game for Pump Fury's birthday. Chan, awesome. Now I've just got to convince her. Which other Northerners are coming? Well, mate, I am very, very tempted as long as I can get permission. And also because next month's going to be my first month without my pay from my other job, so I'll have to see how things go that way. Yes, feel free to kidnap me and take me to paintball events. Right, anyway, So let's drop on to the next things. I also need to I need to mention a correction to something that I talked about in last week's live stream. I could try a couple of those things. Most of them would probably go alright individually. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to kidnap the ginger orangutan. Great, is that my new name, is it? The ginger orangutan. Right, oh, and by the way, Chan, if you're kidnapping us, we're also picking up Albert on the way. Right, so, I need to offer a correction to something that I mentioned in last week's episode. I mentioned about this the new umarex shotgun, the double barrel shotgun that they're bringing out. Obviously, from last week's episode, those that watched it know I am very, very excited for this thing. I cannot wait to get my hands on this shotgun. It looks awesome, and I kind of want to create a paintball Evil Dead cosplay, just for to be able to run around with, this is my boomstick. I've got a proper hard on for like shotguns and stuff like that. They just appeal to me. But I mentioned in the live stream last week that it appeared, at least I think I even said that it was a shell system, a shell fed system. So if you wanted to use it, you had to carry a bag full of shells or a holster or whatever. You break the barrel, you feed the shells in, you close the barrel, you fire off your 2 shots, and then you've got to change the shells. Turns out that isn't actually the case. It is 12 gram canister in the bottom, just the same as the umarex HDR50 pistol, which I don't know if I've got to hand. Give us a sec. Nope, it's on there. I don't know where my pistol's gone. Nope, no idea where that's gone. I'll have to find that another point. But yeah, stream over. Right. As I said as I was saying, the umarex pistol just the same, or the umarex shotgun just the same as the umarex HDR50 pistol. Has a 12 gram changer in the grip, so you don't have to worry about preloading 12 grams and then having them lose gas as you're playing throughout the day. And it is just break barrel, you shove a ball into the breech, close the barrel, and go. So you could potentially run the shotgun with first strike rounds, and they're going to sit there perfectly fine for the most part, and just be ready to go when you want to go. So this just makes it all the more exciting for me, because the idea of not having to carry around 12 gram cartridges and not having to carry shotgun shells around, it just makes things a lot simpler. In the real world, obviously that wouldn't be an issue, but you know, when you're just going to be ditching them. But the fact that if you're carrying 12 gram, if you're carrying shells in a paintball game, you're going to have to reuse those, so you have to make sure that you don't lose them. It just makes me want to buy that thing all the more. It makes me very excited about getting my hands on one of those umarex shotguns. So I wanted to do my due diligence and mention the fact of that I did get something wrong last week. And if anyone's interested, there is a link in last week's live stream to somewhere where you can see them. I think I might have that wrong, but I have shared a link on my Facebook page. So if anybody wants to go and check them out, you can go check them out on there. Right, what else? We're going to do a speed weekend last week, but not many players, so everyone did 1989. A speed walk-on last weekend. You have extreme prescription sedatives. Send them over, Ben. Yes, just send us them. I'll take them anyway. I could do with a few nights where I just don't have a broken sleep, a disrupted sleep pattern would be brilliant for just a couple of nights. And I just wish the dog would stop waking us up throughout the night. um, are you trying to say that I'm fat, Jan? A donut trail to your car? I don't like donuts particularly. I mean, Krispy Kreme ones are alright, but I'm not a huge fan of donuts. However, man, you could burgers or something, maybe, but not donuts. Come on. Um, yes, but yeah, blow dart and some prescription sedatives would be that'll do it. Just yeah. So Nightmare, you were going to do a speed walk on last weekend, but not many players do it, so everyone did 1989. Are you talking like everyone at YPC did 1989, or was it still two separate groups? If I'm allowed, wonder if you can do multiple balls for true shotgun style. We can trail the Chinese to your car. Yes, that one will work. I love Chinese food, so definitely you can definitely that one will probably do what I was saying. Yeah, Colin, you see now, I was wondering if with the umarex shotgun, if you were to take some balls, some cotton wool balls, uh, give those a bit of a push down the barrel first, and then tip some 50 cal balls in, or even 43, or even those 6mm ball, paintball ball bearings. If you were to tip those in, and then you'd probably have to close the pistol grip first, so you still left everything down. The cotton wool balls would keep everything in the barrel, and then, well, yeah, they keep everything in the barrel so you can run around with it until you need to use it. When you fired it, the cotton wool wouldn't travel very far, but the balls would travel potentially further. And you could, yes, I'm pretty sure doing that, you could indeed have a genuine shotgun spread. But I think the problem would be, at what point do you class it as a hit? Like, if you shoot somebody with a clump of 6mm paintballs, at what point is that seen as a hit, and at what point is it seen as just splatter? Because surely most players aren't going to expect to be hit from a 6mm paintball. And if you're playing a game where you actually have to mark your opponent, so it's not a game where bounces count, then, you know, would you take a hit? Would you even know necessarily that you've been hit from a 6mm paintball if it was only one piece of buckshot? You know, would you count that? Would you even consider that as a hit or not? But I suppose if you'd say loaded three 50 cal balls in its place, then yeah, in the place of one 68 cal, or if you're meaning multiple 68, you potentially could. I suppose you potentially could push down the barrel multiple 68 cal, but you're probably not going to get. I think you'd be pushing it at 3, and then there is a risk of. I mean, even with the smaller balls, there's a risk of it happening where the ball's smashing in the barrel, and then you just get soup out the end. I think there's more chance of that happening if you're using normal paintballs, because the sort of the smack together. If you're using smaller paintballs, that might work a little bit better. But maybe we'll have to do some testing. If I can get my hands on one of these, which I'm hoping to do within the next couple of months, then if I can get down to District 23, we might have to try. How do you know? Yes, she is watching Hollyoaks. One moment. You're disturbing the stream. Right, that's the door shut. Wait, what was this? Yeah, everyone did it. Everyone did there. Everyone at YPC did 1989. Oh well. So since you were down there, how did the people that had planned on attending the normal walk on? How did they feel about that? Because if they're planning on attending a normal walk on, and then they've been told that they've got to go play the 1989 club because there's been more people have turned up for that. What was the kind of response to that? Did anybody leave on were most people happy with that? Let me know the crack. Right, so But while you're doing that, while you're typing that up, I'll keep going. Depends how much it would soup cannon. Well, that's the problem, Colin. I think there's a good chance that it would just turn into a massive soup cannon, but at the same time, it might not, and it might be fun. So I think if I can get my hands on one of these, we'll try it. We'll give it a go at whatever game I can attend straight after that, and I'll even be the guinea pig. I'll be the one that gets shot with it. Right. Right, Ben, no, they're not like a cartridge. They are, in fact, just it's direct gas through. So you put a 12 gram canister in the pistol grip, just like the HDR pistol, the HDR 50 pistol, you know, the revolver that I bought. So you just have your constant air. So by rights, you could just fire and fire and fire and fire. From that's how it looks at the moment, anyway. Love smashing your small balls into barrels. Through barrels. Some left. Well, that's unfortunate, but I can understand if you've turned up to play one particular style, and there isn't enough people for to play that style, then I can kind of understand people leaving. It is a shame because YPC is a fantastic site to go and play. But if there isn't the numbers for that style of gameplay, then I can't really blame those players. It is unfortunate to hear that though. But other than that, was it a good weekend? Was it a good day? Did you get many kills? Did you play multiple game zones, or did you? Because when 1989 clubs first started off, they only used to play it on what I think used to be called Beirut at the time. So is it still just played on Beirut? Do they play on multiple sites now? Do they play in multiple game zones? Yeah, tell us more details. And you might be on the Jokers. Nice one. Congratulations, man. Can you HP tap it? I don't know. Yeah, I suppose there's anything is possible, but at the minute, I really can't say. I suppose there's the potential. I have actually got photos somewhere of the HDR 50 stripped open. Now, I didn't strip it open; it was just photos that I got off the internet. But I suppose I could have a. Oh, I can't because I'm streaming from my phone. But I could have a look through that at some point, or if somebody else can find them. And if it's the same system, that might give you an idea of if you could potentially HPA tap it. But it's worth checking out, I suppose. The only thing is, I don't know what the regulation system is like for it. HPA tap it for better airflow. The thing is, you don't really, for what it is, you don't really need to improve the airflow on it. Because generally the things like the revolver and even the PPQ pistol or the HDR 50 pistol or the shotgun, they're not really meant to be designed as primaries. They're meant to be used as secondaries, last ditch sort of stuff. It's just that remote line adapter on the 12 gram plug. You see, now you potentially could. The only thing is with the 12 gram adapter, I think you'd probably have to drill a hole in the side of and you'd probably have to drill a hole in the side of the grip somewhere, mount and then screw a fitting through the hole in the side, because if I actually knew where it was, if I had it to hand, I could show you. I don't know where she keeps tidying this room up and things just go missing. I really don't understand where it's gone. I just can't. It's not there. Where would you put it? No. Anyway, but yeah, you probably have to drill a hole through the side of through the side of the pistol grip. Put the 12 gram inside. I suppose piercing it wouldn't be a problem because that would already be done with a dummy 12 gram. Screw a fitting through the side of the pistol grip, and then run a remote line from that. And you could potentially do it that way. but I don't know how comfortable that would be or anything like that, with obviously having a remote line sticking out the side of the grip. It is, I suppose, feasible, but I don't know if it would be comfortable to do. Your Pump Fury this weekend. Did you actually go out and play it this weekend, Colin? Whereabouts were you playing? Were you playing down at Combat Zone Lincoln? In fact, they had a walk on this week, last weekend, didn't they? So how did it go then? Why can't it go in the arse end of the 12 gram? Because the 12 grams going back to front. They actually go in with the rounded end of the 12 gram. That goes in first, and then the puncture pin is actually on the plug at the bottom. That so you whack that, and then it's ready to fire. And if I could find the bloody thing, in fact, hang on, I think is it? Aha! Ha! That's it. I've got it. Right. I found it. Right. Yeah, Combat Zone kick butt in the morning, afternoon didn't go so well. Nah, you can't have it all, mate. Right. So that's the bottom of it. Now, I'm assuming, unless I turn on the light, I don't know how well you can see that. I realise that coming through on the other end of the live stream isn't exactly fantastic. I do need to work on this a bit more. But you might be able to see down the inside there. The rounded end of the 12 gram goes in there first, and that's the puncture pin in there. So that then screws in the bottom of there, like that. And that would then go in your holster, do whatever you need to do. Or if you're just going out to play with it straight away as a primary, all you do, once you're ready to go out and shoot, you put a fresh 12 gram in there, you just give that a whack, and that punctures the 12 gram, and you're then good to go and start playing. I think I did cover most of that in my review of the HDR50, but I understand if you haven't watched it, that's fair enough. You got 4 of them for cosplay. When you're saying you got 4 of them for cosplay, are you talking for the revolvers or for something else? Because the revolvers, they're bloody awesome. Well, I do think I am very, very excited for that shotgun coming out. If you couldn't tell. But yeah, I suppose if you want to look at it, I'm not sure what would be up inside of here for the revolvers. That, to me, these things are bloody awesome. So I'm not surprised. There was one of the lads from the Dragons that he was on about getting some, he bought 2 by the time I bought this one. And he was on about buying more so that he could just have them all over him, like on bandoliers and stuff, kind of like Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean. So you just pull them, shoot them off, drop them into a dump pouch, and then pull another one out and shoot that one off, and keep doing the same thing over and over again. But what I was going to say, I'm not sure what the internal's like there inside the pistol grip, but I suppose if there isn't anything up here, you could potentially run a macro fitting through the back there, and then run a, out of, as you said, out of the arse end of the 12 gram, and then run a remote line from that. I suppose there's the potential for that, but it would be something that somebody a bit more clued up than me would probably have to look at. Okay, so a custom-made plug with a remote adapter in the base would be easy and should work as it's sealed chamber around the 12 gram. I don't know. You see, the only part around the 12 gram that's sealed without us looking up the pictures, unless I can, I'll do a quick Google, but HDR50 internals. Right, what we got? I know I need to sort this out so that other people can see my live stream and see what I'm actually viewing on my computer as well. I'll get to that at some point. Umarex, nah, it's the Beretta. Without, I think I would have to go through my phone. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to find that very easily. So that's the problem, Colin. I don't know if what you would what would damage what, and I mean it's potential. There is potential for it, for to be able to run a remote line from this, but I don't think that you particularly need to be honest. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the crack is with that. It's something that could be looked at, but to be honest, you don't really need to run a remote line from this. Apparently, this thing I didn't check out. I didn't count numbers exactly, but with this thing, I think it was around about. I've been told that you can get about 60 shots off this, like 60 usable shots, and I could quite happily believe that. And I was taking out 5 chambers per game, and I was shooting those off and having no problems. Um, and then I think I changed my 12 gram about 3 times in the day, and just kept playing, and didn't really have any issues. So I don't think there's much need for because if most people are going to use it as a secondary, I think you'd be fine just running it as running it off 12 grams. But you could definitely try modifying it so that it could take direct air. Right. Uh, if it pierces the 12 gram with the cap, the airflow has to flow up to the gun somehow. Well, yeah, looking at it, obviously I realise that you can't see up inside of it. But looking at it here, it does look like the air flows up round the sides of the 12 gram, and then through into the back of the. It must be the valve here. Um, so yeah, it goes round into there. So I don't think you'd be. I don't think it would be easy to mod it, but anything's possible. Definitely, anything is possible. You know, it could be worth a try, but I can't say either way because I'm not an engineer. I'm not a designer. I procure things and try and use them. um, you're building a Harley Quinn revolver for a friend. Very nice, man. Is it going to be functional or is it just going to be pure cosmetic? Because I do like cosplay stuff. It's something that I've always kind of wanted to try, but just never getting around to. Good evening, Richie. How are you doing? You're drinking wine and rather tipsy. Very nice on a school night as well. It's more for the velocity consistency. Um, well, that's it. I'm not exactly sure how consistent the velocity is, but it's also I'm not exactly sure what the regulation system is with it, especially considering it's a fixed velocity marker. So I don't really know what the crack would be on that. Especially I suppose depending on like heat differences and stuff. Although, well, I've talked about it before. Because it's only 50 cal, it falls, especially the F stamped version. Now, I don't know about the un-F stamped version, but the F stamped version falls way, way below UK legal limits for 50 cal. So it shouldn't be an issue. I mean, if it's cold, then you're going to be firing on reduced velocity. But then again, it's not exactly a marker that's designed for shooting long range. So you're probably going to be in CQB when using it anyway. If it's warm, you're going to have something like, I think it'll be around about 150 feet per second that you could go up without having issues. Of course, it is still important to check your velocity throughout the day, but you know it should be it should be something that you want to check out throughout the day. Richie, we're kidnapping the ginger one and going to Colin's 30th. Yes, that may be happening. Right, pretty simple to do. Just a threaded plug like you have with a remote line. You know what it is? That could actually work, Chan. I wonder if I've actually got anything to hand. I suppose what you could do. Right. I wonder. Let's just have a quick look at this. I doubt this is going to be the same, but oh man, I think this is actually coming off. It can't. This isn't going to be the same. And nope, the wrong part's unscrewed. Oh man, nothing's ever simple, is it? Right. I'll just put that back to the way it was then, and I'll drop that over there, and I'll take this off here if I can get it off. There we go. Oh dear. Right, there we go. And I'm just kind of curious. It won't. You're saying it won't be ASA thread, and I doubt it is, but it's not going to fit the hole, is it? No, it won't fit the hole. It was an interesting theory. But unfortunately it's not. The threads do look kind of similar, but I don't think they're exactly the same threads. It's a standard ASA, so you can screw in air bottle in the revolver. Oh, do I dare try this? I don't think the fittings. I think there's too much meat on the bottom of the revolver grip. Yeah. And I do think that's a little bit of a mistake. But yeah, unfortunately it can't fit. But I think if we had normal reg that you could maybe mill some of the outside off, you could potentially put a regulator on the bottom if what Dr. Rush has said is correct there, which obviously I've got no reason to doubt. But if it is just a regulator fitting, you could put just a regulator on the bottom, run a remote line off that, and then you'd even be able to adjust the velocity that way. So that could work if you're really wanting to go down the route of regulating it. Right. Right, what we're saying. Pretty simple to do, just a threaded plug like you have with the remote line. Well, that's the thing, Chan, that was what we were talking about earlier on, and unfortunately, because of the way that the remote line, because of the way that the 12 gram goes in there, I don't think a plug, like a dummy I don't think a dummy 12 gram would particularly work very well without having to drill through, which would then potentially cause problems with air, CO2 or air leaking around the outside of the... Ooh, dinner. Awesome! Thank you. Oh, that's hot. Awesome, thank you. Cheers. Go on. Do you want to stay up here with me, do you? Go on. You can stay here if you want. You can go see your mum. Go on. Right, you're just going to stand there and watch us. Right. Oh, well. So, yeah, having a threaded plug, I don't think it would work particularly well, because you would have to drill through the grip and things like that. I think that could cause problems. Right, nice one, Nightmare. I think it's a perfect platform to modify off, especially considering it's basically just a plastic shell round those internals. So if you've got the capacity to, you could even possibly 3D print an entire new external shell and just put those internals in it. With no ring to seal, that could work, Chan, but I'm not sure if it would. But yeah, Dr. Rush, it's a standard ASA that you screw in an air bottle. It's a standard ASA, so you can screw in an air bottle into the revolver. That could be. it's a shame I can't get me 12-gram chain, me bucket changer off, because it could potentially give you an expansion chamber. If you were to put a normal bucket changer on the bottom there, it would be a quicker change, and yeah, it would give you an expansion chamber inside of the revolver, so that there's less chance of you getting liquid CO2 up inside the marker. I can't life. Yeah, I struggle. I struggle with life and do it. Well, if I could have, gotten my air tank onto that, it would have been fun. Reg thread is the same as a tank thread. Yeah, well, that's what it seems. I mean, obviously yes, but yeah, I'm just realizing what's been said previously. You're working on an adapter. Nice one. So, Rush, are you going for are you going for a constant air supply on it, like what we've been talking about in the in the in the stream so far? Because I do think it'd be kind of interesting. It's likely to work better than if it went in the other way. Yeah, more than likely. Building dual revolvers for a birthday present and for our primary. Very nice, man. Very considerate. And if it works, if that's what she wants to run it as, if she wants to run it as a primary, I'm all for that. The only thing is, with it being a 50 cal ball, it is going to travel a shorter distance than in comparison to a 68 cal, and it's also a lighter ball, so it will be more affected by wind. However, if you're the sort of player that likes to get up close and personal, that shouldn't be that much of an issue. Just give Chan the revolver for a week. No, because I don't want. I like mine running off 12 grams. I like having things. I don't want to have to carry a tank on my back and stuff. If I was running it as a secondary, maybe, but I'm happy just running it as a primary and running it just that. So, the next thing, we've got that Diamond Wars had their first event. So, NPF Bastards Pole had their first Diamond Wars event. A mini stock on it in a 13 CI. Yeah, I could see that being quite fun. Having a revolver carbine could be very cool. But I would have to have another one. I couldn't have that one. I want to keep a pistol. I want to keep the revolver as a pistol, but also putting a longer barrel on it and a stock and a constant air supply would be very fun. But yeah, Rush, I am definitely interested in seeing what you decide to go for with a constant air supply on it. If you plan on keeping it pretty much stock apart from the constant air supply, or if you plan on modifying it and stuff. I like seeing modifications on stuff. I like seeing how people make their gear their own. And the same for you, Nightmare. If you can either message us on my Facebook page or send us they post stuff up in even if you post it up in just like UK Paintball on Facebook or somewhere like that. I'm interested in seeing what it is exactly that you end up doing with the gear that you're modifying yourself. But then that goes across the board. I like seeing people just making gear their own. I'm not a big fan of just cookie cutter stuff coming straight off a factory shelf and people taking it out. I want to see custom gear. That's where I think paintball is fantastic. It's not just all the same. At least it didn't used to be. Come to the dark side, do it. Let's yeehaw you up. but it's already yeehawed up with just the revolver. It's already sort of cowboyed. Ooh, I think that's a chicken pakora. It is a chicken pakora. Oh no! I better move that away so you can't see my laptop screen. Oh yeah. You need a carbine, Sheriff. Nah, I just need the shotgun. I need a shotgun for a little bit more range. Right. So NPF Bassett's Pool, last weekend they had their first section of Diamond Wars, where they have just recently decided to introduce a 5.5 balls per second limit on all electros. And there's been a bit of discussion about it, and now I think this isn't something that's particularly new, but it's with this being the first game of its kind, at least as I'm aware, in the UK, where the balls per second has been reduced so significantly. It's led to a lot of conversations about it, and I'm somewhere in the middle of the two. You see, you've got a relatively small group of players, or at least it seems that there is a relatively small group of players who aren't happy with this, who aren't happy with the idea of games being, or the balls per second being reduced so significantly. And on the other hand, there is the vast majority of players seem to have found this to be a very exciting thing and a very it's changing the dynamic of games, and it's making things just flow that little bit better. Now, I'm all for making games flow better, making it more acceptable, but I think it's interesting for to maybe touch on some of the reasons and some of some of the things that people have found with this. For example, and like I said, I mean, obviously I didn't attend the game, so I'm trying to approach this as an impartial sort of point of view, because I don't play with electros very often, so the fact that electros have been limited to 5.5 balls a second doesn't really affect me. But my opinion on it is I'm all for trying to get more, having a bit change and seeing if we can modify things and make things play better and run better and all that sort of stuff. On the other hand, I still think 5.5 for an electro is quite low. I think maybe, now personally, I think somewhere around about 7 or 8 balls a second would have been probably more reasonable for an electro, especially when they're going up against uncapped mechanicals. Now, apparently the rules are that you're not allowed things like response triggers or, well, yeah, I suppose it'd be like response triggers or crank handles and things like that. So you're not going to be improving your rate of fire that way. It's meant to be all down to just being able to pull a trigger. I'm going to shut that door. Go on, go see your mom. Good boy. Right, so there. Hopefully that's Hollyoaks out of the way. Go on, downstairs. Go on. Go see your mom. Good boy. Right. So, I think when it comes to the electros, I can understand trying to take away a little bit of the firepower of electros. I've touched on this before. When you're shooting electro, it's very easy for it to just be able to hold down the trigger, or hold down a lane, and just wiggle your trigger, wiggle your fingers, and maintain a high rate of fire. Especially if you're using assist modes such as ramp, which is Millennium Ramp is pretty much the only sort of ramp mode that is acceptable in the UK, or at least widely deemed acceptable. But now, one of the arguments is that, one of the things that I've seen coming up a few times is that players who are using electronic guns that are capped to 5.5, they're doing a lot of wiggling. But there's just nothing coming out at the end. I mean, you've only got those 5.5 as opposed to the constant put of a electro firing 10 balls a second. You're halving that. So that's a lot of movement for a very small amount of paint coming out. Now, I understand that's probably going to feel weird, and that's something that a lot of people were saying, was that it felt weird. But on the other hand, I am up for the idea of possibly reducing a bit of the paint in the air, because I do think paintball in general, for a long time now, we've all been shooting far too much paint, and it's resulted in a lot of players hanging back. and there not being a lot of movement. There's a lot of long balling. There's a lot of players just shooting, blasting paint off, and not really hitting much. But then I find it an interesting topic. It's one that I'm not exactly sure. It'll be interesting to see how this goes in like over the next year or so. But, and I may have things wrong, but the Mechanical Masters, they tried it and they've changed their minds on it. Because the way I see it, it's not fair to handicap some players unwillingly and give other players an advantage unfairly. And what I mean by that is electoral players are being capped at 5.5, but everyone else on field, those that are using mechanical markers, can shoot in whatever mode they like. Well, obviously it's semi-automatic mechanical or pump action, but they can fire as fast as they like. So it's a little unfair to me, that, because yeah, sure, with an electro, you're going to be able to pull the trigger. There's not going to be that much resistance with an electronic trigger. You're going to be able to sustain that rate of fire probably for a lot longer, a lot easier. However, you're going to have instances where even pump players are going to be able to outgun those electronic players. Now, I mentioned that in a thread on UK Paintball, because I said, even me as a pump player, I feel like I'll be outgunning some people, like some electro players that are capped at 5.5, because I know for a fact that I can probably pump faster than 5.5 balls a second. And me as a pump player, I shouldn't be outgunning people unless they're playing something like stock class. You know, as an open class pump player, that should be the only time I'm outgunning somebody. Or even like a player that hasn't got auto trigger on the pump or something like that. Yeah, that's it. Albert's forearms will outdo 5.5. But this is it, right? Most experienced pump players can fire faster than 5.5. And I'm not actually gonna gas me gun up. I think this will probably be me. I think that'll probably be my best option. You can, yeah. That's it. I think Colin, you've been pulled for ramping a pump before, haven't you? Oh, that's slightly on there. Right. Now, this isn't a particularly smooth pump stroke. Not at the minute. I think it needs a little bit of work done to it. But this is also auto trigger. So let's see if you can get an idea. That's at a guess. I'd probably put that at what, maybe 7 balls a second. I wouldn't mind putting that over a chrono. Now this isn't a particularly smooth pump stroke. So I'm not going to be able to sustain that for very long. That has to have a little bit of a push against it. But auto trigger. On the other hand, that's got a fixed ASA, so I won't be able to put this in all the way. But that one is buttery smooth. There is like next to no resistance on that one. I'm not really used to using this one. You shouldn't be able to outgun people with electros using a pump. That's all I'm kind of trying to get at. I can understand them wanting to try and modify things and want to change things, but I'd still think 5.5 is a bit low. And right, so what else? What we're seeing in here? Because obviously I realise I've just looked like a bit of a div pumping it dry fire and pump actions there for a little while. Trying to grow the sport by introducing some more politics. Potentially, yeah, Ben. I understand people trying to change stuff. Pneumatic assist pump, yeah. I mean, where does a pneumatic assist pump stand on that? I mean, when you can fire a pump by doing that, all you have to do is hold the trigger and wiggle your finger, and you can cycle a pump action. Because, was that not even a? I can't remember who it was that manufactured it, but they made a three-way where instead of the three-way being cycled by pulling the trigger, it was pressed by a button on the other side. So you can sit and do that on the other end of a. Well, it's still a pump. And I mean, like you said, Colin, there, stick a max loader on something like that, and you could decimate using a pump action very, very, very easily. You could outgun most things on a field. See you later, Nightmare. Have a good one. So anyway, let's go through some of these comments in here. Trying to grow the sport by introducing more politics. Yeah, this is it. Unfortunately, in trying to grow the sport, especially after the whole Valken debacle that's been going on. Which, other than mentioning that something has gone on with Valken, I don't want to really try and touch on that because I just do not know where to begin. That just seems like a hell of a crapshoot that is going on at the minute. It's interesting as a pump player as we might have an advantage for a change. Yeah, Albert, you know what it is? If there's other events take on this, like for example, if Paintfest do the 10-man, is it? And they do the 5.5 rules for that, you could reasonably put a tournament team of pump actions out there who could outgun every other team on the field playing pumps. May as well shoot 98s to an extent, yes. I mean, the thing is, you as I've said before, the 10-man is the classic rules. So yeah, you could in that case you could reasonably put a pump action team. You could put a pump team into that tournament who would outgun everyone else. Which by that point, by come July, I don't think will be the case, because I think what's going to happen is, because people always want to try and go for the advantage. So there's no advantage in using an electronic marker. There's no advantage in spending £1,200 on a brand new electronic marker that is going to be outgunned by Tipman 98 or in like Chan. I mean, obviously you were there, you know, 17 balls a second on a GOG enemy. When that gun, how much did you pay for that? Something like about 90 quid. So you bought a gun for roughly for less than £100. That, yes, I know you've put a couple of modifications into, but you bought a gun for less than £100. Well, yeah, that's it, Martello. It's the whole Valken thing. I don't even know where to begin or what to look at when it comes to the Valken stuff. It just seems like it's been a massive mess on. So without more information at this point, I don't really want to comment on it other than the fact that there has been a massive mess on that has involved Valken. So yeah, paid less for the gun than you spent on mods. Yeah. And like I said, 17 balls a second out of a GOG enemy. How can an electronic gun that cost over 10 times the amount? I mean, what's the point in buying an electronic gun that costs over 10 times the amount of than the one that you bought? Which, what's the point in buying it? There's no point. But on the other hand, that does mean Full Metal Alchemist, mate, is a brilliant series. It's really funny, it's great. But if you've never seen it, you will know the part that I was on about when you see it. it's really dark and it's really sad. It's a great storyline, and it's I can't say relatable because we're none of our magic, but it's a great storyline. But it's really dark, and it is. I don't even know how else I can explain it, but it's dark and it's sad. Just this one part, but the rest of the show is absolutely fantastic. It's definitely worth watching. But yeah. um, so right, Millennium Ramp is WPO rules the same as NXL, PSP, etc. Right. Uh, on a good day, I bet I can get over 5.5 on Slamfire, and I know Colin has been you've been on the receiving end of it. Yeah, that's exactly my point, Albert. We know that you can get higher rates of fire, so I don't understand why they've capped electronics or electros so slow. The only reason I can think of for it is because it's easier to sustain on an electro. What's the rules on mag with RT? Right, mags with RT aren't allowed. You're not allowed a response trigger. But you could feasibly go for like a level 10 mag with a UL trigger kit and hit like velocity, balls per second limits of like 30 balls a second on semi-auto. But that's some serious tuning that it takes to get auto mags to fire like really high rates of fire. But with the level 10 bolt kit on it, you're not going to chop. It'll basically feed it. It'll fire as fast as you'll feed through the hopper. But they are air hogs as well. Yeah, RT trigger is banned. Albert's forearms will do 5.5. Yeah. You can ramp a pump, yeah, off Albert, yep. On a max loader, yep. Pneumatic assist pump, yeah, which we've talked about. You know, you could play a pump, a mechanical pump, and be able to hold down the trigger with auto trigger on, and just twitch the trigger away, or twitch away at the 3-way, and activate it. Just makes a pump into a cocker. Effectively, a pneumatic assist pump, yeah, it is basically a cocker. All you're doing is you're just activating a 3-way. Actuating? The 10-man is the classic rules, yeah. So, I think if I do 10 that, this could make it very interesting for putting a pump team in and being a serious threat. That they having an actual pump team being a serious threat on a tournament field and not just kind of like doing it for fun. One sec. I'll work my way through the comments. I did say I'd come up there, Martel. I'll get to that in a sec. Right. 60, I don't know what that was in response to, Chan. So for all of us on a team, we are putting in either pump or mech. Mate, if I can make it down to the event, I'll happily join that team. Idex, Full Metal, we've already answered that one. I do, it's heartbreaking. Yes, it is. Edward. It is. It's horrible. Right, and am I free for 20 minutes after the live stream? Yeah, sure, mate. I'll be around. So, if you want to contact us, I don't know how best you want to do that, but yeah, I'll be around. I'll just top up one of my roller coolers because family-friendly channel. I don't think I've really sworn that much tonight, so that's a bonus. Yeah, I think I'm getting slightly better on the swearing front. Right. Yeah. Yes, Colin is having a walk. Well, there's a walk on happening around about the time of Colin's 30th. So there's a few of them. Well, I'm hoping I'll be able to make it there. Catch us on Facebook. No problem. Yeah, that's absolutely fine, mate. Yeah, I'll be about. I've always got my phone on us anyway, so I've nearly always got my phone on us anyway. So I'm always around to talk if you ever want to, or if you ever need to. You know what I mean? Yes, you pay for the 30 minutes, so 20 gives you 10 minutes free. So, something that I did think was worth, and as I said, I'm more than happy to see people try and create things and modify things and change things for try and improve paintball. Because I think if we want to grow as a sport, we do need to change certain things and we need to modify things. And we need to find out what people like and what people don't like. And for big games, the 5.5 thing seems to have actually done a great thing. I was reading some of the posts that were given accounts that rentals were getting really into it, and I think obviously rentals are the lifeblood of the game anyway. But the rentals that were joining in and playing Diamond Wars Part One, or at least Diamond Wars Part One for this year, the rentals were moving, and it was actually giving the rentals a chance for to get out and fire and for to play and join in to an extent that they wouldn't have normally been able to play and join in. Because even at 10 balls a second, you can make it through somebody's lane. You know, there is enough space between two shots that if you're running full pelt, there's a chance that you will make it through someone's lane. So you reduce that by half. The spaces in someone's lane opens up significantly. Now, of course, running through somebody's lane of fire is still gonna, you're more likely to end up getting shot. Obviously, you want to try and avoid running through someone's lane of fire, but with a bigger gap in between those two shots, you're more likely to be able to slip through. Now that gives rental players who are joining in with non-rental players so much more opportunity for it to be able to move, and it also means that they're not going to be on the receiving end of so much paint unless somebody is trying to hurt them anyway. Now I think it's been you, Colin, that's mentioned that anything over 10 balls a second, you're just trying to hurt someone. And to an extent, I kind of agree and I kind of disagree, because when I first started off, I was playing games where we're firing 12 balls a second. And while I don't really miss it, I didn't really have a problem with that either. So I can't exactly agree with you, but I do also know where you're coming from. And I do kind of stand by you don't need more than 10 balls a second. I think if it's good enough for pros who are playing in things like the Millennium events and stuff like that, then it's good enough for the average walk-on player. I think if you're going out in the field and you've got your gun set to high rates of fire, you're going out there because you want to put paint on people, and it's not really fair, especially if you're playing against more newer players. So I can kind of agree and I can kind of disagree, but I do think the fact that that rental players were getting involved, I think that means that there's more chance of those players going and telling their friends, and also more chances of them actually coming back and playing again, which that is what I want to see more of. I want to see rental customers going, you know what it is? I had great fun with that. I played with guys who play with their own gear, and I didn't get decimated. That, to me, is fantastic. And I want to see more of that. So if we can get more of that, I will support 5.5 for Electros if it means that we get more players coming back. Now, if we go up to 8 balls a second and we get more players, even more players coming back, I'll support that as well. I think that'll be fantastic. But if it means trying a few things and find out what works and find out what doesn't work, I'm more than happy to see sites do this, and I will try and support those sites as best I can. But the other thing, I think I did. I think I mentioned it. I'm not sure, but if I didn't, I'll mention it again. I shared a link to a YouTube video from Hawaii PB, but I will also right, where are we? I'll go to my channel. Oh, it has to be there. Right, I'll share a link in the chat as well. Where is it? Because I think this is brilliant. So I saw a couple of people posting up that part of the thing with playing the 5.5 event was that, you know, because when people were shooting the 5.5 and they're using mechanicals and stuff, they're using single trigger frames, and you can't walk a single trigger frame, so that then reduces your rate of fire and all this sort of stuff. And now, for the most part, I will agree that most people can't walk a single trigger frame because a lot of them are hinge frames. Sorry, a lot of them are slider frames. So as a result, it's difficult to walk a slider frame. I think for the most part, the way that most people walk a trigger by tapping it like that ain't gonna cut it for the most part. You kind of have to pull. If he's gonna understand that, I hope he's can. I hope I'm not patronising you there. But most people think that. There was a couple of people saying that you can't walk single trigger frames. Well, that's not true. I've seen single trigger frames on. I've seen electronic single trigger frames on MQ2'd autocockers that have been walkable, and by the same guy that did this. There you go, Chan, you're saying you can walk your enemy as well. Well, yeah, and of course even if you can't walk the trigger, you can still fan the trigger, and we know how fast we can get a rate of fire out of something by fanning the trigger. Now, for those that don't necessarily know, which I'm pretty sure most of you will, if you're fanning the trigger, it's doing that as opposed to walking the trigger. It's how old school players used to get higher rates of fire when you couldn't walk a trigger, when you're using mechanicals and stuff like that, in the way that paintball used to be. But anyway, I'll share that in the... Yes, doing that. Right. So yeah, I've just shared that in the chat there. Do that action again. What? Like that. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've just realised how, like... Oh, man. And here was me being so innocent. But I've just shared a link to a guy whose YouTube channel is called Hawaii PB. Walking a G-Mech. A G-Mech. And I'm pretty sure that that's more than 5.5 balls a second. Now, yes, it is, the fact that he's walking the trigger on that doesn't mean that everyone's going to walk a trigger. But I'm pretty sure that most players can fan a trigger. Not a standard G-Mech, if you remember. Well, it might not be, but that's kind of my point. You can walk single trigger frames, especially if you get a sensitive one or you tune it up a bit and stuff. You can walk them, and it's not, of course, the exception doesn't make the rule or anything like that. But I just think I thought it was funny that you can't walk a single trigger. Yes, you can. But I did just think that was worth sharing. So, I think, have I got anything else? Facebook page, Discord server, Diamond Wars. So, as I've said a couple of times now, at least with the Diamond Wars thing and the 5.5, I'm happy to support it if it seems to be drawing more players into the game. The only thing I kind of worry about is some of those players coming in and then getting a hell of a shock if they go to a normal event, like to a different event, somewhere where balls a second isn't capped. They could get a very big shock then. But of course, by that point, they would also be invested and know that not every game is the same. On the other end of that, though, I do suppose if you are one of these players that has gone out and spent a lot of money on equipment already, or you've got something like, say, that, which, without going into the settings, I can't really reduce down to 5.5. I would have to go in and completely change the timing myself for to be able to do that. So if I only had that marker, I'd find it very difficult to play this one of these events without finding out settings and reducing everything right back down. In fact, I to get that adjusted, I probably would have to try and start googling things and asking on sites like M Carter Brown on how to return me rate of fire all the way down. For players that have got this sort of gear, yes, Chan, sci-fi board for the win. Yeah, rub it in. Is that thing actually working properly yet? You're not going to get any food offers. You can go away. Go on. You're very cute, but you can go away. Well, I suppose if you know Ben, then it could do that. It always has been. Was it just a case of like you didn't know what you were doing with it then? Because I think most of the times I saw you working on it, it wasn't running properly yet. No seriousness though. I know that you were building the marker at the time. Yeah, the battery was low. Yeah. Well, I mean, these things are notorious for having battery issues. I think you've got to with that thing, you've got to change the battery in like every session you take it out. Try leaving a battery in for a week so you can play at the next event, and it's just dead. Rivals the E1 for consumption. Well, yeah, that's it. That is an E1, but it works when it has a fresh battery. So. I think there is a possibility for this pissing off a lot of players who have spent a hell of a lot of money on equipment for then turn up to these events and find that the gear that they spent a hell of a lot of money on, so that they can shoot high rates of fire and so that it's more efficient and all this sort of stuff, isn't really needed. I mean, if you can go out and you can play the exact same using and you can actually play better, or you can shoot higher rates of fire and things like that using something that you've spent £100 on, then I think I'd probably feel a little bit miffed if those players that can outperform us using gear that's less effective, and I'd spend an absolute bomb on it. It's kind of like, I suppose in a way, it's a little bit like going to a car meet or a road race or something, and being told you can't use your really expensive car, or you can't put your foot down in your really expensive car when you've spent 100 grand on it, and somebody in a Clio can outperform you that they spent 100 quid on or something. But yeah, that's just my little bit of ramble on about that. So I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings, and maybe I've maybe gave you something to consider yourself. Probably not. The E1 has a battery issue. Yeah, no, it eats them. Battery loss juice mid-game at Heroes and started smashing paint. You see, that's the problem with E-blades. Like the traditional E-blades. Even with the sci-fi board in it, they just eat batteries. And I don't think there's all that much that we can do about that, really. Unless there's somebody that knows circuitry and things like that and can create something better than what we already have. So, what was the date of the walk on for Colin's 30th? 24th. So it's the weekend after the walk on that we're going to, Chan. Yeah, February. So we've got the District 23 walk on, which I'm sure we can just go down to in the morning, and then we'll have the Combat Zone Lincoln walk on the 24th, which will be, I'm assuming, Sunday, and yeah, we'll hopefully go down there and, well, if I'm allowed to go, we'll go down and I'll be able to come back and I'll be able to talk about it. Maybe get some good footage from it or something like that. And I might actually be able to make a video instead of sleeping on Colin's sofa. I don't know. I might be sleeping in the back of the car. God knows. I don't know. I mean, we'd have to talk to Colin about that. And I suppose I could just take the Bolingo and sleep in the back of that. There's enough space for me. I don't know if he's still here. might have to message him on Facebook, see what the crack is. I'm telling you, you're not getting anything. Good boy. Right, anyway, so I think, unless anybody has any topics that they would like to discuss for a little while, I think I'm going to knock the stream on the head soon. So thank you very much for joining, everyone. It's been a pleasure as always, and of course I live stream every Wednesday night. Starting at 8 o'clock, normally running on until about 10 o'clock. I'm not gone yet, Jan, and I love you too. But I live stream from about 8 o'clock till normally knocking on towards 10 o'clock. Depends on how much content I have for how much I'm going to cover. But thank you everyone as always for joining my stream and for helping keep things going. It's a pleasure to be your entertainment for the night, and I try my best to do that. So, as I said earlier on, I now have a Facebook page. If anybody has any topics, or if they've got any games or anything like that they want to share with us, you can share them onto me with us on the Facebook page, and I'll post them out. Get your shirt off. It's not that kind of stream, not yet. That's me stream that I do on that different site. You know that one. Right, anyway, but thank you very much for joining us, everyone. As I was saying, I live stream every Wednesday night, 8 till 10 normally. And I shall see you next week. Thank you again.